During this time, it's important to stay alert for you if you're a senior or if you're the son or daughter of a senior. Stay alert for fraud, as artists rather are likely to take advantage of people, especially seniors, when they're distracted. It's all about sleight of hand and misdirection. Scammers may try to get your Medicare number or other personal information so they can steal your identity. Dr. B, Dr. Brent Wallis from People's Health joins us now with some tips to help keep you from falling prey to a scam. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great, Tommy. How about you?
I am doing well, thank you. What about some signs of a scam? Are there some lights that go off, or some things that people should look for, some commonalities? How can they identify one?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of things to look for that kind of indicate a scam. Probably the biggest one is a threat of legal action or arrest, especially if that comes through email or text. And with those emails and text, they should never have any of your personal information. So that's another sign that I watch for. And then you'll see how some of these come through. Sometimes there'll be misspelled words or grammar mistakes, which is because a lot of these scammers are overseas, and so English may not be their first language. And another one to watch for is any request for cash, wire transfers, or what's real popular right now is gift cards as well. So anybody asking you for a gift card, that's a sign of a possible scam and something to watch for. And then the last one I usually look for is anyone who offers to increase your benefits, any of your Medicare or your insurance benefits, in exchange for you giving them money. That's not going to happen. And the other thing to really understand about Medicare and Social Security is they're not going to threaten you with arrest and legal action. They're usually going to issue you a letter that tells you what the problem is and give you information on how to contact them to resolve that problem.
And they certainly wouldn't ask you for a gift card. So if somebody calls you and tells you for whatever reason they need you to send them a gift card immediately, that makes no sense, correct?
Yeah, that's a sure sign. The government's never going to ask you for a gift card, and no insurance company is ever going to ask you for a gift card either. So that's something to watch for.
How about some other tips for avoiding Medicare fraud?
Well, you mentioned at the beginning the Medicare card and that Medicare number. So anyone who has Medicare actually is issued a number and a card, and that card is exactly like a credit card. It basically is what you use to access any of your Medicare services. So you should treat it exactly like you would treat your credit card or your Social Security number. You never want to give that number out to someone who has contacted you. So you always want to make sure that you know who you're talking to. Medicare is never going to reach out to you and ask you for that number. It's more likely that you're going to call them, and then you may have to give them that number for identification. But in that case, you would be the one initiating the call. So that's something to really watch for. One of the other things, too, is Medicare is not going to come to your door and knock on it and talk to you about their services. Now, some of the healthcare providers and even health plans may actually send a nurse to your home to help you with services. But again, they're not going to ask you for that Medicare number. And then another thing to kind of watch for is somebody who's calling you to try to enroll you in Medicare. That's not how Medicare works. You have to initiate the contact with them. So if someone's calling you and telling you they can get you signed up for a great Medicare plan, that's probably a scam that's happening.
Some great information. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look at some other scams that you can watch out for. One of them is the grandparent scam, and Dr. B will tell us about that when we come back. If you have any questions or comments, if you are a senior or the son or daughter of a senior, text them in to 504-260-187, and I'll be glad to pass them along. 8:20, time for traffic now, WWL. 8:25, Tommy Tucker, WWL, our weekly visit with Dr. B, Dr. Brent Wallis, Chief Medical Officer of People's Health. A lot of information waiting for seniors, or if you're a child of a senior, grown child, trying to navigate your way, help them navigate their way through health care. Go to peopleshealth.com/radio, everything you need to know there. So we're talking about scams, Dr. B. Are there other scams? What are some of the other ones to look out for? And what is this grandparent scam? Because I got to tell you, from what I hear of it, I think I would fall for this immediately.
Yeah, there's dozens of them out there, and the grandparent scam is particularly egregious. It's really trying to play on the kindness of grandparents. And the way it works, the scammer will actually call you and simply say, hey, Grandma, do you know who this is? And what they're trying to get you to do is respond with the name of your grandchild. So the minute you say, Timmy, is this you? Then they can basically take on that identity. And then what they do is they, in assuming that identity, they may tell you a sob story. They may tell you, I don't have enough money to pay rent, or my car broke down. Can you send me some money? And they'll even say, don't tell my parents, because they'll get upset about this. And once they've kind of got you on the hook, they'll ask you to either wire them money or, again, send them a gift card, so that they can actually pay their rent. And just like we were saying, anytime somebody mentions sending money or a gift card, that's a red flag right there. The other thing to kind of watch, they've tried to do this scam via text as well. A lot of our seniors use text messaging a lot to talk with their families, and you have to be very careful about text messaging because you don't know who's on the other end. You're not seeing them, so be real careful about giving them any personal information via text.
And I guess you're so distracted in terms of voice, you're not really noticing whether it sounds like them or not. You're just panicking, thinking, oh, my God, how can I get Timmy out of this problem, right? So how can you protect?
Especially if they say they're in trouble. Sometimes they may say they've had a run-in with the law. They, need to pay a fine that someone's trying to collect. So you're very concerned about your grandkids, so you jump right in and try to help.
So how can people protect themselves, or maybe children protect their parents, grandchildren, grandparents, et cetera, from these kinds of things?
Well, like I said, text messaging and emails, you have to be real careful because you don't know where they're coming from. Telephone calls, you may not recognize the voice. So what's better to do if you suspect something is to hang up and actually call them back on the phone number that you have. That way you actually know that you initiated the call, you initiated the contact, and you can actually make sure that you're talking to the specific person that you need to talk to. Another thing you can do is you can actually throw out a little bit of information that may be false. So, when that person saying their Timmy calls you, you can say, oh, I was going to call you for your birthday next week, even though their birthday isn't next week. And if they try to jump on that, then you've got them. You know that it's a scam. And at that point, you just make sure you don't volunteer any information, you hang up the phone, and then seek additional help from there.
If you or somebody you know has been a victim of a scam, what's the best thing to do?
Yeah, if money's involved, you definitely need to contact your bank right away. I would contact the local police. You can also call Adult Protective Services because they have a lot of information about this. And what's nice is the Department of Justice has set up a hotline for this. It's called the National Elder Fraud Hotline. And the number is easy to remember. It's 1-833-FRAUD-11. They've got a lot of resources that they can connect you to and help you, especially if you've been separated, from some of your money.
Thank you, Doc. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you again next Thursday. Dr. Brent Wallis, Dr. B, Chief Medical Officer of People's Health. You can always go to peopleshealth.com/radio to find out more. You can call them at 855-821-2666. And, of course, follow People's Health on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thanks, Dr. B.
Thanks, Tommy.